Okay, so in this video I'm going to do a few things just to finish off CSS. We're going to do what happens if you want to change the text color and the text size and do some other stuff as well. So how do you do multiple rules? Okay, so let's do that now. So let's go back to our page. We've got this one here, these titles we've been playing with. So say we want to change the size of all of these titles here. Okay, well, we go to the H1 for all the rules for the H1. So this is the H1 tag. It's saying anything that's H1, we want these rules. Now, you'll notice I say rules plural, because at the moment we've only got one rule, but we're going to make another one. We're going to have a space there, and we're going to say font size colon is going to be really big, say 5 EM. And say we want a border, and we want it to be colon, and we want it to be 5, no, let me less. We want the border to be 3 pixels solid and 3 pixels solid red. There we go. And finish that rule there. So we'll look at both of these. So the first thing you can see is we've now got 3 rules, and they're all contained in these curly braces here. So we've got rule 1, which says any H1 tags need to be green if they haven't been set by some other rule. The font size for all H1 tags needs to be 5 EM, and that needs to be a border. And we'll look at this rule here because this is kind of a special rule. So let's just save that and see what happens. There we go. So it's got a border, a red border, and maybe if we just move it over so you can see it properly. This is Lindsay's web page, and then we've got two other titles down here, and they've both got borders as well. And you'll notice you're kind of mixing and matching because it's taking rules and mixing them up. So here it's saying all the H1 tags, they need to be green and have a border. But then it's saying, but some H1 tags, if it's got the ID, Lindsay, then it needs to be red, not green. And if it's got the class Coder Dojo, it needs to be pink. So it's kind of mixing and matching lots of different rules at once. So that's something you're learning there. Now the last thing we're going to look at, well, actually, we'll look at this special rule here, because this is kind of special, because this is actually mixing 3 rules together in one go. So I'll just show you how that's going on. Let's just go to my paint here. So say I've got this rule that I'm making. So say we actually want to do, we've got 3 things that are quite similar. We want to set the border color. We want to set the border width, and we want to set the border what would it be? Color, width, and color, width. I always get mixed up with type. I don't actually know what that is. The actual specific rule is something or other. But anyway, what we would normally do is we do a separate rule for each one of these things. So we'd say the border color is red, and finish that rule. And then we say the border width is 5 pixels. And finish that rule, and then we'd say the border type is solid or dashed or dotted, and then we'd finish that rule. Now what we've actually done here is we've combined all of these into one rule, okay, and this one rule looks like this. It just says border has the following attributes or the following rules. Border is red, and you can mix and match these. You can say, you can see either one of these first. So it's red, it's 5 pixels, and it's solid as well. So you can say dashed or whatever. And then we finish that, and that's all of them combined in one go. And that's much easier and simpler. So that's what we did there. And now let's see. We'll go back and have a look now. So yeah, so that's what we did there. You can see that. Now the last thing we're going to do in this video is how to specify something, and that's how to specify. This will show you maybe a little bit more why IDs are useful, more useful sometimes than classes. So say we have, now I'm going to have to do a little bit of HTML here to figure out what we're going to do. Let's see, say we have 2 links, and the first link is in a div. A div is just kind of like a block, and that div has an ID of, you have to follow along just for a second, ID, div ID equals to, we'll make up a name, the special div, special, and we'll close that div underneath. So we'll see now that we've now put this link inside this div here, and then we've got another link underneath, and this is a different type of link. Now if we save that and refresh that, we'll see that we've got a link up here, and then we've got another link down here. In fact, it needs a break after it, I think, to make sure that the image goes underneath. So we'll save that. Let's see what's going on here. I don't know if that's working or not. Oh, sorry, the break actually needs to go up here. There we go. So we'll save that, and let's see now. So yes, we've got 2 links. Now, the problem is, in this situation, that the HTML, there's no ID on this link. So say we want to affect just the stuff in the special area, in the special div. We would say, or just a links in the special div, and maybe I'll write some text above it to show you that there's a difference between an a link here and some text above it, which just says this is some text. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a rule in our internal style sheet, and the internal style sheet will say for special ID, the div with the special ID, and the a links for that special ID will be font size will be 2em or 3em, and the color will be green. Then we write, and just leave it like that, save that. Now do you see that? It says special ID, then a space, and the element. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a second, but let's just see what that does. So do you see here, this is the div here, this is some text, go to, and it says the stuff in this special area here, the links, just the links, not the text, just the links, will have be green and be quite big. It'll be size, what size did we set it to? We set it to 3em. So maybe I can show that to you on, if I just pause that, maybe I can show it to you on a structured page. So I've opened this in another browser, in Firefox. So you can see here, this is the a link inside the div that we just made. I'm going to put it into 3D view, and you can see this is the special div, there's the link inside, and there's the other link underneath. And you can actually see it's inside. This is the HTML here, then the body on top, and then the div here, the div special, the special div, and then the a link inside. And that's what we specified. We specified the style for that link to have the font size 3EM and the color green. And that's how we did it. So let's just, in the last few minutes, let's just look how we specified that. So I will draw it out here. So say we want to, maybe if I just get rid of all of this stuff and hang on, we just cut all of that and go to black. Okay, so say we want to specify an object, and that object is somewhere in the page. What you do is you look up the page. You start at the basic layer. The basic layer being this basic layer of the page here. If you can see the basic layer here, the bottom layer, that's the HTML layer. You don't have to specify HTML. You only need to specify the minimum necessary. So we could specify the body, or we could specify the div special here. So we could say for the div special. So we could say, hang on. For the div special, I need a paintbrush. It's all going wrong today. Okay, for the div special, div ID. I didn't do a space this time. I just because it's all together. This is the special This is the special div. Make it there. Dot there. Special div ID special space, because this is now inside. So inside that, so you say space. Inside that, there's some A links, and for those A links, we want to make these rules. Blah de blah de blah, and then close that. And you could also say for maybe all the A links on the page, or well, basically that shows you that the div and the ID are really useful, because before you might have been thinking, oh, the ID isn't that useful because it only specifies one thing. But here you can see that this ID actually specifies not just one thing, but it specifies everything inside it as well, like this A link, or like an image, or any text, or anything else inside this box here. So remember, that's inside this box here. Okay, now I've probably bored you a little bit with all of that stuff, but hopefully you've got the idea, and I've gone a bit over time, but that was quite important to kind of try and explain, and I probably might need to do another video on it. But anyway, in the last video I'm going to do external style sheets. So I look forward to seeing you there. See you then.